This meeting is being recorded.
All right, everybody. Here it is, the show you've been waiting for. Fantasy Bros, end of season. With the two teams that are in the championship. We've got Jeff Bruni with the Untouchables, Tim Kroll with the Biohazards.
And some little kids.
I'm the Cartel, and there's the War Pigs.
My wife.
I think what's
Everybody's
interesting
coming down for the show, Jeff.
What's interesting is that both of you guys came from the Power Pack division. And I think it's fairly rare to have two of the people in the finals to come from the same division. But if you look at it, it's the third and fourth best records playing. So it's not like somebody came from out of the blue and got lucky. You guys both had pretty good teams. So it's not super surprising that you made it. Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree.
Of course, Brody agrees. He spent no less time than half the season telling everybody how good he was. So we knew that. What about you, Tim?
I couldn't hear. There was noise. What was the question?
Do you have your
Are you surprised that you're in the playoffs?
Yeah, I'm surprised. No, you know what? I'm not surprised that I'm in. I'm surprised that I made it as far as I did, for sure. If I was telling them just this morning, if I was on the other side of the bracket, by the way, if I was on the other side of the bracket, I probably would have been knocked out for sure. So luck was on my side for certain.
So I looked up some stats. Bruni is the number one team since 2016 with a 73-34 record.
Regular season king.
About to get knocked out.
And Biohazard is the number 5 team with a 56-49 record. But if you look at this season, Bruni had about 1,800 points for 103 points per game, and Biohazards had 1,644 points for 94 per game, which means, 10 points is a pretty big difference throughout the regular season. We can go on and on about why that is. None of that matters because all that matters is that you made it to this point. You guys have dropped players, picked up new players for this game, and it's a one-game final. It's not best of 3 or best of 7. Anything can happen at this point. Your quarterback could sprain his ankle in the first play, and all of a sudden you're out. So that's what gives us so much power, I think. Biohazards, have you won the championship before?
Well, in my world, yeah, 4 times, but nobody else seems to want to acknowledge that. But yeah,
what do you mean? What do you mean in your world?
I mean, in the reality of the MFFL and the league's history, yeah, I've had the title 4 times. My name's on this bitch 4 times.
Not since there was a website that was keeping track of stats.
Okay.
It was when they were doing it on paper.
Not true.
Thank you. So like in the 80s, when there was like all paper and that kind of thing, there was like 4 other people that didn't know how to play. You beat them.
I was still an afterthought. I wasn't even born yet.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sure. I've won twice, I think, before we got online, and I've won twice after we've been online, I think.
Right. So it's kind of like back when like the AFC and the NFC were 2 different leagues and they hated each other. And now, okay. So you've won 4 times, and Bruni, have you ever won?
No, this is my second championship.
He knew the
the
answer to that question.
And who did you
Second
play?
time I've been in the finals.
Who did you play in the finals last time when you were in the finals?
I think it was hit.
No.
I'm pretty sure it was.
I think it was.
In 2016. Pretty sure it was. And what happened in that finals?
I don't know.
Same thing's gonna happen this weekend?
I can't remember.
Well, it's your first title, or it's not. You haven't won a title, so you know what happened. The end result was I beat you.
I didn't have him crying though, telling me I was gonna win that time though. He was actually talking shit that time.
Yeah.
Now he just keeps telling me how I'm gonna win.
You're gonna win.
I mean, listen, I know you guys both well, and to me, this game is a little bit like watching North Korea and Russia get into a war. Like I hate them both. I want them both to lose. However, I think you guys are both smart enough to know that you had a little bit of fortune to get where you're at. You've got both good teams. And at the end of the day, it's out of your hands. It's going to be fun to watch. The whole thing of fantasy football is making fun of each other and talking shit. So that's what makes this fun. I don't think either of you are going to hang your head if you lose, except for maybe Bruni. If you lose again, that will be hard to get through. If he wins 5 times and you won 0,
it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough.
We'll be closing on Buffalo Bills territory from the 80s. Yeah.
If you win second place, you win money though, right?
Yep.
How much is that typically?
I think it's 100. It's just 100 now.
of the $100 plus
$100.
plus whatever he won.
I've already won 100 anyways because my
Oh,
division.
for the
and
division.
playoff wins.
Yeah, that's good. I just didn't know how much therapy costs. If that was like cover a session or not. Okay, let's look at this real quick. So, Bruni, 2021, your record was 9-5. 2020, 8-6. 2019, 10-4. 2018, 9-5. 2017, 13-1. Like, you were always at the top 1 through 3 teams, pretty consistent. Some down years, that happens with injuries or whatever. Fairly consistent. Now I go to Tim. Tim was in 2021, 10-4, then 5-9, then 9-5, then 3 wins, 11 losses, then 8-6. So he's kind of all over the place. Again, people age out, people get injured, a bad trade. I don't know, it's interesting to me that even with your up and down seasons, Tim, you still kind of stayed relevant except for that 1 year, which is hard to do in fantasy football. Corey, what are your thoughts on how we got here and what do you think is going to happen?
How we got here, what we think is going to happen. I think Tim made an interesting point was that the way the bracket's set up, and I would like to discuss this in the offseason because for the first time, it affected me. So now I care about it.
Weird.
Change all the rules, Corey.
That's right. Is that the person we decided who got the number 1 seed. We broke the tie by a 1-game head-to-head, which was me versus Rod, instead of the person with the most points. I'm mostly kidding, but I thought that was interesting because, well, to be honest, I think I was the best team for most of the season. So I think everybody actually kind of thought I was the 1 seed. We kind of penciled it in, and then Tim was like, actually, we break a tie by head-to-head, and that last game, Rod won by what, like less than a point or something of the season, the last game of the season?
Let me throw this out there, though. It's to the point Jeff was making about Jeff's one of his seasons going 13-1 and not winning the championship. He had the best team that year for sure. It just, you get shaked out with some bad luck, and here you are.
I know. My point wasn't that. My point was that you said if you were on the other side of the bracket, and my point was this: I would have beaten anybody else but Bruni. So you're right. You would have lost in the first round if I was the 1 seed. Rod would have lost regardless, and it would be me and Bruni in this position.
So you want a reseed?
Well, wait a minute, guys.
No.
This is not the MFFL rules committee. Let's keep focused.
No, you asked how we got here. You asked how we got here, and then this is how we got here.
Right.
And like you said, it's been mostly there's been no real big upsets. It's mostly top 4 teams that ended up in the top 4 positions, right? For all 4 spots that got left.
Yep.
There are no big upsets. And I think these 2 guys have interesting lineups. I was looking at them yesterday. There's a lot of players that you kind of look at like, whoa, why, this guy's in the finals. I think a lot of
let's go through that.
End up in that position because of injury and because of late not trades but free agent pickups.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to discuss that now.
Let's go through. I don't want to do the pickups, so that can get clunky unless you know something you want to bring up specifically. But I do want to make one point real quick.
Yeah.
Rooney, if you look at the overall all-time not overall from 2016 on, he's 7-5 against Tim. So it's not like it's 10-1. They're fairly even. Anybody can win. And I feel like maybe you can talk about this too because you've won 2 out of the last 3 years. You won, I won, you won. Because Nandu before that. Like for me, when I won, my entire life changed. I got married to a hot lady. I got a raise at work. My arthritis went away. I was losing my hair in the back. It started to grow back. Like a lot of positive things happened when I won. So I can see why you guys want to win this. Yeah. Obviously, the hair growing back didn't happen for Corey and his 2 wins, but Corey,
maybe so I got something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe. Yeah, it's just your first win. It's only your first win where the hair goes back. Just the first one.
Nobody knows this. When I won my $1,200, $1,400, whatever it was that year, it was the first year of COVID, 2020. I put all of it minus $300 back into the Super Bowl on a bet through Tim, and I bet on Mahomes to beat Tom Brady, and I lost all of my money. I'm either gonna go double or I'm not gonna have anything. I think it was found money anyways. Who cares? So I lost it. So that's what I did. What did you do with all your earnings, Corey? Other than hair?
I don't think I really did anything special. Honestly, it was probably a bunch of paying bills. I think I bought the new Xbox last year, like the Series X.
Yeah.
But the one I remember the most was my first championship, which was like 1998 or something. I don't know, something like that. And I bought a fridge. I bought a new refrigerator with the first championship, whatever.
Very utilitarian. I like paying bills.
1999. There you go. So, anyway,
does your Bruni, what does your jersey say? What number?
97. Hutch.
Is that your hat size? Okay.
You are such a good host.
Keeping it moving. All right, here we go. Lineups. Brooklyn Untouchables. Let's start at the top. Josh Allen, thoughts, stud or dud this week? Corey.
He plays Cincinnati Monday Night Football. Probably going to be a stud regardless of who he plays.
I agree. James Conner.
Connor James, good old Connor James.
Actually, you probably wouldn't know who either of those people are because you don't know any of the players in the NFL.
That's true.
James Conner.
Playing Atlanta, but Arizona is a complete mess. I still would count on him to get a touchdown. So I think he'll be okay, but I think his ceiling is pretty low, like maybe 10-pointer from him.
I think that's going to
be just so you know, he's put up over 15 4 straight games.
I get it.
So you know.
Sure.
I think it's going to be an absolute disaster playing on the road. Atlanta has a very good run defense, and they just signed like Jeff George as their quarterback or somebody. So they're going to key in on the run. I hope I'm wrong. I'm thinking 11 points, probably not the 17.29 that he's forecasted. Who knows? We're all making it up. Dalvin Cook playing against Green Bay.
And that's at Green Bay. I haven't looked at the weather yet. Obviously, it will be cold regardless, or maybe not. Who knows with this crazy weather? He always looks really good to me, but then if they end up in a shootout, which I doubt, but if they do, he's not going to do quite as much. So I'm going to go middle of the road with him. I'll still call him a stud at this point, though.
Green Bay is very cold to play there. You know what else is cold is Dalvin Cook. He is going to suck. Just kidding. Dalvin Cook's going to be fine. Dalvin Cook, he does disappear some games when they go aerial, right? We got Justin Jefferson with 3 touchdowns, not a lot of running team. He's going to do fine. I'm not really that worried about him. I think 18's probably on the high end, but it's possible. I am worried a little bit about Jerick McKinnon versus Denver. Not that Denver is good, but just Jerick McKinnon in general. Is it sustainable? He's had a couple of good games in a row. Is he the real deal? He wasn't the real deal before because they brought in like 11 other running backs, and now all of a sudden everybody's injured and he's the guy. Is he really the guy, or is he just the guy that they need him to be right now, and does Mahomes open it up for him?
Yeah, no, complete dud here. I like you said, they bring him 8 million different guys. One week it's one guy. The next week it's somebody else. Sure, he's got a couple of good games in a row. I think Denver's defense is actually pretty good, but it's impossible to see that because they score like 9 points a game. But half those games are like field goal contests.
Yeah.
Right. So
that spot's not guaranteed yet, by the way.
Okay.
Because that's the question mark for me.
Well, that was a question because you did have Brian Robinson.
I think Antonio Gibson's out, so I'm thinking Robinson might go in there. I haven't figured that one out yet.
Yeah.
Well, the strength of the Untouchables. The strength of the Untouchables has always been the battery between Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, and then you throw in Jamar Chase. And oftentimes, I haven't gone through the scores, but the 3 of them will outscore the other team almost. They'll have like 60 points between the 3 of them. So it's really hard. He doesn't need everybody else to blow up. He's got such a strong core. And I don't know that we're going to see any difference there between what we're used to and what we're going to see this weekend. We're also going to see, good play from both of those guys. What do you think?
Yeah, I believe so. It will be interesting because it's Monday Night Football again with Buffalo at Cincy. Tim doesn't have anybody at Monday night, so we should be waiting for Monday night to determine the champion. So that's going to be a lot of fingernail biting for both guys. If Tim doesn't go into Monday Night Football up probably 30, then you're in big trouble, right?
We said 50.
I need more. I need
Oh,
more.
We said
50.
50.
50. No way. Who's putting up that many? Which guy's getting what? Who's putting up 35?
25, 15, and 15. That's 55 points.
You got Chase too. Okay, my
Yeah.
bad. I forgot about
Yeah.
Chase too. Okay, yeah, you're right. Probably 50 then. Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
if that
right.
wasn't enough, you throw in the tight end, Hawkinson, who, 11 points isn't super hard to do when you get a touchdown and, 40, 50 yards. It's pretty doable for him. But I don't know that Hawkinson and Cook are both going to have great games, maybe. So that could be a little bit of a hole. The kicker is the kicker, whatever. Defense is the defense, whatever. But I think to your point, just with Diggs, Chase, and Allen, that's going to be obviously the key for him. Every team has 2 or 3 players that are going to be their key. That's the key. Connor, Cook, McKinnon don't even really matter if Allen, Chase, and Diggs show up.
Yeah.
And their points that they're saying they're going to score is 138 points. We all know that's garbage. It could be 250 or it could be 30. It could go anywhere. But he should win this game on paper. I think we can all agree on that. I think even Tim agrees on that. But the reason we're excited about this is we know that anything could happen at any point. So if it was that easy and we knew it was going to be a foregone conclusion, no one will watch the game. So it should make it fun. Now, if you flip it over, if you have that in front of you to the biohazards, I'd say the number, if you have a 1A is Allen, the 1B quarterback in the league. Well, maybe there's Jalen Hurts is in there somewhere too. But Mahomes is certainly in that conversation. What do you think about him against Denver? To your point earlier, Denver's got pretty good defense.
Yeah, I was actually going to look that up really quick and see where Denver actually falls against the pass, which is, oh shit. Well, interestingly enough, KC's defense is number 1 against the pass.
Denver has
going to matter because
Denver has the number 1 offense pass defense is Denver.
Okay, there you go. So passing for both teams is going to be who knows, right? And then I just feel like Mahomes is good enough to make the difference regardless. It just comes down to what they need. Do they need a lot of points to beat Denver? They don't at all. This game could end up being 14-3, and then you get almost nothing from him. And that's the danger because Denver is so bad offensively. This could be, and we've seen that this year where KC doesn't do a lot and they just win the game with not a lot of points. And that's happened a lot of times this year. And I think that is a real danger for Tim's biohazards team.
A great point, right? You have Cincinnati, Burrow is going to throw. They're going to put up points for sure, right? So you have a shootout where they have to match them, quote, touchdown to touchdown. I had a game once where I think it was Tua. They were up by 28 points in the first half and they sat them for the second half.
Yep.
And I didn't get any points. That wasn't they didn't play bad. I just didn't get any extra points that I should have gotten. So to your point, if they get up a couple touchdowns and they just start running the ball, that could actually help McKinnon and actually hurt Mahomes. So it'd be really interesting to see how that works. And then you go, it's one of his strengths. You go beneath that to the running backs. You got, I don't know how to say his last name, but Algier from Atlanta, Etienne from Jacksonville, and McCaffrey from San Francisco. Obviously, McCaffrey's if he's healthy, is a top running back. There are some question marks on Etienne and Algier as far as not just necessarily their ability. They're both on the younger side. Algier's a rookie, but on their consistency. I've seen Algier do really well and look really strong like a runner. And I've seen games where I haven't seen him all game run more than a 2-yard and run into people. So I don't know that doesn't match up really good against Dalvin Cook and James Conner, I guess is my point. Yeah.
And like I said earlier, I think Connor's going to, he's definitely on a horrible team. That doesn't necessarily mean he's not going to score a lot, but I just don't see it this week. But that may not matter if you get Tim needs Etienne and Algier, or however you say them, to both do at least double digits, maybe teens at this point. If you give McCaffrey even a 20-point game, biohazard rule, there you go. If you give Tim even a 20-point game from McCaffrey, is that enough to overcome what you kind of have to consider Michael Pittman doing less than 10?
Michael Pittman is going to be, I mean, he just snuck into that playoff spot because Pittman got a garbage last throw of the game,
Right.
40-yard, whatever. Like, that team is abysmal. I don't know that he's going to get 12 points. I don't know he's going to get 6 points. Like, I think that their team is in shambles. So I would imagine, even with the point structure the way that it is, he's supposed to lose by 14. He's going to not get points from Pittman. Juwan Johnson, not consistent. He's had a couple of good games because he's on the Saints, and that's also a team in shambles. Like, everywhere I look, Jacksonville's not doing great, and he's got 2 players from Jacksonville. Atlanta's not doing great. Like, he doesn't have anybody on good teams that are going to score lots of points. He might get lucky, and that might be the one guy that scores 1 of the 2 touchdowns, but they're not going to put up 4 touchdowns where they have 4 opportunities to score, like a Buffalo, like Philadelphia, like some of these other kind of offensive juggernaut teams.
Yeah, I don't know what happened here. I don't know if they got disconnected or what, but I was going to ask Tim if Lockett, who is questionable, if he's on the board to play instead of Pittman. He's questionable, like I said, and that's versus the Jets, who have a good secondary, but you have to wonder if Lockett's on the board. He also had Lazard. I mean, honestly, I would probably take both of those guys over Pittman at this point, because Indy is just awful.
And I think Pittman's a great wide receiver. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you should drop him.
Sure.
Or anything. I'm just saying he has nobody to throw him the ball. Is
right. Exactly. Yeah. So unfortunately, everybody, it looks like Tim and what's his name? Bruni? Yeah, that's his name. Those guys are unable to reconnect here with too many people partying over there, and Terry taking up all the Wi-Fi looking at porn. So yeah, Tim says he's undecided on Lockett due to the finger. So, he doesn't want to give too many people the finger over there in Seattle. So we'll see. We'll see if he changes his mind. He's got, Pittman plays at 1. So he's got to make a decision by then. So he doesn't have a lot of extra time. So we'll find out there. And like you said, Christian Kirk, it's done some good things this year. Finally, it's hilarious that I think his best season now is away from Arizona and in Jacksonville, of all places. So I just read an article about, Jacksonville rediscovering how good their first round draft pick, which is only his 2nd year at quarterback. It just shows you what a catastrophe their coach was in year 1 last year when he already got fired,
Yeah, what a waste.
So
So I said earlier that was like North Korea and Russia, and I stand by that. And on the one hand, I would like Bruni to win because I want to watch Tim implode, like mentally, and like throw controllers and like, the whole thing that he'll go get his motorcycle, like Top Gun, and like drive off and like fast and whatever he does, because it's Tim. But on the other hand, I really, really like the simplicity of Bruni never having won, and I'd be able to hold that over his head because I have. And if he wins, then we'll both have 1 wins, and it kind of makes us evenly yoked. I don't really want that to happen. Do you have any feelings on your, obviously you're closer with Tim than probably anyone else, well, maybe Mike in the league. Do you want Tim to win as a close friend, or would you prefer him not to win for the same reasons I don't want either of them to win?
No, you would think I kind of don't want Tim to win because I don't want anybody to catch me with the most titles at this point. I think he would tie me if he won, but I don't actually remember if I'm up 2 or 1 on him at this point. But the real question is, do I want Bruni to win it all? No, never. Zero wins. Go for the Bills' record of getting to 3 championships and losing all of them. Unfortunately, he couldn't do that in a row. I think it's interesting. Did you say his last title game was 2016?
Yeah, I believe in 2016 he played Tim.
So that was the last time. So as you said, the best record in the league for that span of time, and only been to the title game once, which means he's only won 1 playoff game in 6 years. Well, until this year, in 5 years, and until this year, now he's won 2. So that's crazy, and it tells you how random it can be, or it tells you how bad his playoff teams are.
It's
Obviously, I'm kidding.
The division, the conferences keep changing, which makes a difference. And
Yeah.
obviously he's pretty good with making good trades and being smart, keeping people and all of that. Like he's a good owner. He makes smart decisions. So he can be a bit of a, I'm telling you right now, you be a bit of a pain on some of these trade conversations, but we get all worked up. We'll talk for like 3 days and then we're like, I'm not going to do it. Or I'll say, I'm not going to do it. That's kind of that's the fun of it. Yeah, but I mean, he always has a team that's in it. And you're right. With only being to the finals one time, I wonder if those buys hurt. I know that I made it to the finals once. I was supposed to make it to the finals once. I had a buy, I had the best team in the league, best record in the league. I mean, had a buy, lost, and didn't make it to the finals when I should have. I had the best team all season. Like I had like a 9-game winning streak. I had a great team.
Yep.
Doesn't matter. One game, you're out. Like
Yep.
injuries happen, bad games happen. I don't know. That's why we play it, right? If it was as easy as just putting the best team on paper, it would be a whole different conversation. And
right,
to your point, if the best team doesn't make it, I know when I won 2 years ago, I didn't have the best team. I had guys on COVID because when COVID had just started, you were out for like a week if you had COVID, and I had to pick up backup guys to the COVID guys. My quarterback got hurt, and I had like scabs everywhere, and just got lucky and beat the other team. So
right.
I know last year you didn't have the best team in the league.
No, and like I said, I went to 2 of the last 3, and I didn't have the best team, not even close. I think I was the 6th seed, maybe both those times. I was like the last one in. At least one of those years I was 7-7 coming into the playoffs, snuck in. And then this year I have tied for the best record and lose my first game. So that's how it goes. So what do we call this game? I have no idea. On paper, like you said, Bruni should win. I think he will. That's my guess. What do you think?
Let me put it a different way. If I had $100 and they said you had to bet this on this game, who would I bet on?
Okay.
I guess it depends on the money line and on the points. I think that Bruni wins, and I don't think it's that close. I hope that it's closer because I think that makes it more fun for everybody. And maybe somebody gets hurt or doesn't play as well, or the game script changes, and that would make it better. I want that to happen. If I was going to bet $100, I bet Bruni minus 12 or 14 or whatever it is and take my chances, because usually when you get to the final game, the best team wins. I'll take that's what I would bet on.
And like you said, we're pretty much going to know before Monday night, because he's got 3 of his best players playing on Monday night. And yes, crazy things happen. Somebody could get hurt, could be a blowout where people sit, but I just don't see, with the players that he has on his roster, I don't see Tim putting up enough points to be up the 50 that we're thinking he might need going into that,
But Tim knows that. Like, he knows, he's been around longer than anybody, as long as you. Yeah. And he knows his team. He knows that he got lucky to even get in where he's at now. Probably didn't expect to win, then made it, and he's here. If he wins, great. If he doesn't, it's not like, it would be way worse to have the best team and lose than to have a team that's on the higher end. But you know what I'm saying? Like, he's kind of the underdog here. So there's nothing really thing for him to lose on this, I don't think.
Yeah, I agree, but it is Tim. And I'm close to with how Tim reacts to things. At least I used to be. I feel like I've really chilled the last year or so. And people expect me to freak out more than I actually do. So
that's called arthritis. That's why you chill out.
That too. Arthritis of the brain. Yeah. So
anyway, last thing for you. Last thing.
We got to finish up because it's time to go blue.
Game, U of M. All right. Last thing. If the Untouchables and the Biohazards were a condiment or a sauce, what condiment or sauce would they be?
Boy. I mean, Biohazards don't have a lot. They're okay. So I'm going to go ketchup.
Okay.
I'm going to go ketchup for the Biohazards. And wow, I mean, I don't like anything spicy. So for me, I'll just go mustard for, no, you know what? Let's go blue cheese dressing. Let's go blue cheese dressing, because blue cheese is stale, like how I think of Bruni, but I love it too because his team is really good. I love his team. I don't like Bruni. I'm just kidding, dude. You're great. But I think blue cheese is great, and it's got so many different components that work strangely together.
It's pungent. Yeah. I put Bruni's team is like Arby's horsey sauce. It's like you want to like it, and then you put it on your sandwich, you eat it, and you're like, I don't really like that so much. Like that to me is and then I would say the Biohazards is like a Walmart mayo. Like just kind of like, was it worth it? Probably not.
As you're sitting on the toilet, no.
So there you have it. That's our Between the Ferns conversation. Listen, go blue and all that stuff. Enjoy the Michigan game. I'll be watching the football game tomorrow, on and off a little bit to see who's winning. But I imagine by the end of the 1 o'clock games, it'd be great if there's closer. But I think it's going to be pretty clear which direction things are leaning.
All right. Signing off, probably for the last time this year.
Let's hope.
Fantasy Bros out.
See you guys.
Go blue.
Bye.